Do you have blood pressure issues? Then this might be for you. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Ask Dr. Pickel show, where we help people find answers who have chronic health conditions, chronic health problems. And today we're going to talk about blood pressure and alternatives to help with that. A recent patient of mine, before coming to us, she had gone to another doctor and they prescribed her about 4 different blood pressure medications over a period of time. But every one of those that she took made her feel horrible, gave her all kinds of symptoms. And she's like, I'd rather have the high blood pressure than have to take this. And then, of course, when she came in, it's like, well, wait a second, we got to control this somehow. So let's look at some alternatives. Now, after I went over those alternatives with her, she's like, well, why didn't anybody tell me this? Why isn't there this information really out there? Well, let's talk about this information and some possibilities for you. All right. So what happened is the American Heart Association and the American College of Cardiologists basically said, hey, we're going to lower what it takes to be diagnosed with high blood pressure now. It used to be 140 over 90. Now they've lowered it to 130 over 80. So what happens? Yeah, now everybody's getting diagnosed with hypertension or high blood pressure, and everybody's being prescribed blood pressure medications. Yeah. So how would you get your blood pressure down without having to do this stuff potentially? Well, let's find out. All right. So number 1 on our list is magnesium. Magnesium is amazing. It's fantastic. It does a lot of different things. I would say probably everybody should be taking some magnesium. There's food, there's water, and there's magnesium. So pretty important. Now, what does magnesium do? It increases nitric oxide in the body. So nitric oxide, when you release that in the body, it causes what's called vasodilation. It relaxes the walls of your blood vessels. And what happens is when you open up a pipe, like your arteries, pressure drops. So again, decreased blood pressure. So nitric oxide, very important stuff in blood pressure regulation. And then it also increases GABA. So magnesium can make you feel more relaxed. It's great stuff. It actually has a ton of other benefits too. There are about 10 studies. And what they did is they gave people about 350, 450 milligrams per day. And over about a 30-day period, blood pressures dropped. The next one on the list, L-arginine. This is an amino acid, does the same thing, increases nitric oxide. So very important. And again, just being an amino acid. And not only that, but it actually increased blood vessel function and flow. So this had other advantages too. And then this study not only reduced, but in the study, they said significantly reduced total blood pressure. And that was a lot of people studied in those studies there. The next one on the list, Hawthorne Berry. So this is an herb, a botanical. You could take this, you could drink it as a tea, get it in different ways. This herb has been around for centuries, and they've used it exactly for this type of issue and other issues. But same thing, it increases nitric oxide. But it's also been found to lower cholesterol. It's what we would call a natural ACE inhibitor. So if you look up your blood pressure medication, you may find out it's an ACE inhibitor. And then they've given those people about 500 milligrams 2 to 3 times a day. And again, took about 30 to 60 days to get result with that, because you've got to kind of saturate your system. Next one on the list, garlic. So, garlic, if you cook with garlic, good for you, but it's not going to be concentrated enough to really lower the blood pressure. So you've got to really take it in a pill form there. But taking the garlic does definitely decrease blood pressure, decrease the risks of heart disease. Yeah, wow. And there's about 12 studies. There's actually more, but in these 12 studies, they showed both decreasing systolic and diastolic, the top number and the bottom number on the blood pressure. And the next one on here, B complex. So a lot of people take their B vitamins daily, their B complex daily. And if you don't, you probably may want to think about that, because again, a ton of benefits with B vitamins. Our body really needs them. They're water soluble, so we don't really hold on to them very well. They get burned up pretty fast. especially if you do things that burn them up a lot. So, vitamin B2 that's in the B complex lowers blood pressure. Folate lowers blood pressure risk, also lowers homocysteine. And especially if you have a genetic issue called MTHFR, which is extremely common in the United States, then this also a methylated folate could help you prevent arterial inflammation. And then B9 decreases blood pressure and risk of heart disease. Again, very protective. And B6, also called P5P in the active form, lowers blood pressure. So you get multiple things in your B complex that help to bring that down. All right. And then these last two here, number 6, beet root. And maybe you've heard of beet root. Again, it's the root of beets. And then, athletes have taken this stuff for quite some time because of its benefits of getting more oxygen and blood flow to areas. But again, it does the similar thing, increases nitric oxide in the body, increases blood flow, decreases blood pressure. And then about 11 studies showed decreasing blood pressure abilities of this stuff. It works pretty amazingly well too. And then melatonin, who would have thought of melatonin with blood pressure? What the heck? It's used for sleep. So melatonin absolutely does a lot of different things besides sleep. It's actually an extremely important hormone in our body made in what's called the pineal gland. We've got another video on that if you get a chance to watch it. But there was about 5 studies with this, and they showed, again, significant reductions in blood pressure, not just a little change, but significant. So that's big. And here's the other side to that story. They found out that people who were low in melatonin actually had an increased risk of high blood pressure. So very important. And as we age, we produce less and less melatonin over time. So pretty important stuff. All right. So hopefully everybody got some great information out of this. And don't hesitate to watch our other videos on some of these herbs and botanicals. And I'll talk to you later. Have a wonderful day. God bless.